In today's video, I'll show you what's so special about this new addition to my model train collection. It's a relatively new product from Pico, and it's one of the least expensive ways I've seen to get started in the world of G-scale model trains. It's got realistic built-in sound effects, comes with a remote control, and doesn't require you to buy an expensive power supply because it runs on AAA batteries. I'll explain all about why you might want to get one of these. If you're into G-scale model trains, I'm sure that you're familiar with Pico. I've got quite a few Pico products in my collection. Pico is very well known for making high-quality model trains at a substantially lower price than their big competitor, LGB. And this little battery-operated model of a 25-ton General Electric diesel switching locomotive is something Pico just started selling a few months ago. It's got some really nice, realistic, built-in sound effects. Here's what it sounds like when you first turn it on. And here's what it sounds like when you shut it down. From the remote control, you can fire off the horn. And you can turn the bell on or off. If you want to lower the volume or turn the sound completely off, just flip the locomotive on its side and look for a little black button in the ceiling of the cab. You can click through 5 different volume settings, including off. You can also adjust the speed from the remote or change the direction of the locomotive. Comes out of the box equipped with standard hook and loop couplers, but it can also be converted to knuckle couplers, which are sold separately. Pico makes this locomotive in 4 different paint schemes. I opted for the Santa Fe War Bonnet version because I'm a Santa Fe fan, but you can also get it in a U.S. Army paint scheme. There's a black version with a green stripe known as the KLW Thumper, and they also offer it painted for the Pennsylvania Railroad. The Pico model was based on a real-life locomotive that was very common in the 1950s and 1960s in railroad switchyards and large industrial facilities. It's the General Electric 25-ton switcher equipped with a 150 horsepower diesel engine, and the real-life locomotives were not designed to be fast. The maximum speed was about 20 miles per hour, but usually these locomotives were just moving around quite slowly, moving rail cars very short distances within a railroad switchyard or some big industrial plant. So that's why the Pico model isn't particularly fast compared to other G-scale locomotives. The real ones weren't fast, so why should the model be? If you're appreciating this video so far, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. That tells YouTube that it's a good video that they should recommend to other people. Leave me a comment with any thoughts you might have about the video too. I read all the comments and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. As I started fiddling around with the locomotive, it was obvious to me that this would be a great little train for 2 different types of model train fans. People looking to get started in G-scale at as low a price as possible, and experienced G-scale fanatics that have a permanent outdoor layout. Let me explain. For the G-scale newbies, the big advantage that this locomotive has is that you don't need to buy a power supply for this locomotive, like you do have to do with most other G-scale model trains. Power supplies for model trains can be very expensive, This analog power supply that I own set me back almost $200. And this DCC power supply that I use was more like $400. But you don't need any of that to run this Pico train because it's battery operated. It runs on 6 standard AAA batteries. And actually, your best move is to get yourself some rechargeable AAAs and a little battery charger for them, because those will give you a longer run time and you won't constantly be throwing away used batteries and having to buy new ones. As you probably know, G-scale locomotives can be ridiculously expensive. I've got several that cost way over $1,000, but this little Pico locomotive sells for under $400. And all you need to make it work is 6 AAA batteries and some G-scale track. Now, G-scale track can be expensive, but because this locomotive doesn't get its power from the rails, you don't really need to buy new, expensive brass track. You could get away with buying less expensive steel alloy track, or even beat up old used brass track off of eBay. Now, if you're experienced with G-scale and you've built yourself a nice outdoor layout for your trains, I'm sure you know that after the track sits out in the weather for a while, you start to have all sorts of electrical conductivity problems. It becomes difficult to run the trains because they're just not getting a reliable electrical signal through the rails anymore after those rails start to corrode out in the weather. A battery-operated train like this with a remote control is perfect for outdoor layouts like that. It doesn't make any difference if your track conducts electricity well. With this battery-operated Pico train, the tracks only guide the train along. They don't have to supply power to it. So if you're looking for an affordable battery-operated remote control locomotive for your outdoor G-scale layout, or if you're looking to get started with G-scale as affordably as possible, I think this little Pico switcher locomotive might just be the right model train for you. I'm putting a link up in the corner of the screen if you're interested in buying one of these from trainworld.com, the place that I've bought almost all of my model trains. I like their combination of huge selection and low prices. And in the video's description, I've put a link to some good rechargeable batteries and a charger that would be perfect for this Pico locomotive. If you appreciate my model train videos and you get how much time and money has been involved in making all of them, consider becoming one of my patrons. Visit patreon.com/JimZim to find out about making a small contribution to help and to learn about the perks I offer to my patrons in return, like early access to my videos before they go public on YouTube, and a personal birthday video from me once a year to my top patrons. I guarantee that you'll see this battery-operated Santa Fe locomotive in more of my future model train videos. Just remember that switcher locomotives aren't supposed to be fast when you see my other model trains speed right past it. I'm Jim Zim. Thanks for watching.